In today's video, I'll be showing you the best rod progression guide for fish, going all the way from tier 1 rods, going all the way to tier 13. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please subscribe as I really appreciate it. And with that out the way, let's get straight to the video. Before we get to the video, I just want to announce I am going to be doing another giveaway for 2,000 subscribers. So once we hit 2,000, you guys will have a chance to win the same prize as last time, which is any game pass of your choice from the game passes section right here. So from Sell Anywhere, Bobber Pack, Double XP, Appraiser's Luck, Supporter, Emote Pack, Boombox and Party Boat, Appraise Anywhere, Spawn Boat Anywhere, and Enchant Anywhere, you will have a chance to win any of those. All you have to do is join the Discord server, link in the description, and just join in there and wait till we hit 2K and it will be posted in the giveaways channel. But with that being said, we can get to the video. Okay, so let's just start at Moosewood because this is the spawning spot. Some of these are going to be the same rods as the old rod progression guide, just so you know, but there are some way better ones for you guys because I saw some complaints in the comments. So I am going to fix this list a little bit, and not only that, they did also add some new rods that go into this list since that last video. But like I said, starting at Moosewood, what you're going to do is just kind of fish over here for a bit when you start. Just follow the quests that you get, honestly, until you get them all done. Once you get all the quests that they give you done, you're just going to head up here to the merchant, and once you're at the merchant, you're just going to go to the left of him and you will see the carbon rod, which you can purchase for 2K, which honestly isn't even that bad, especially for a starting rod. Like, let's just look at these stats real quick. The lure speed on this rod is pretty good with a 15%, the luck is a 25%, you have a 0.05 control, a 10% resilience, and a max kg of 600 kilograms, which honestly isn't even bad. Like I said, this is the best starting rod that you can get on Moosewood, which is where we're just going to start because you guys won't even have a boat to get anywhere else. And now we can move on to the second rod. So once you just kind of get that rod, you're just going to fish here for a bit until you can afford yourself a boat. Once you go ahead and spawn yourself in a boat, you're just going to follow where I go. You're just going to pretty much just hop on your boat, and where you're going to head to the west of Moosewood, just pretty much west, like kind of northwest west. You're just going to head this way until you can get to the Mushgrove Swamp, which like I said, you are going to have to stay at Moosewood until you can afford yourself a nice boat, or just any boat really. I think the cheapest boat is around 1,000 credits, so it's not that bad. But once you get here, you're just going to look for this little mushroom guy chilling up under a mushroom tree, or just a mushroom. And then once you find him, what you're going to do is talk to him. He will then give you a quest to catch yourself an alligator. As you can see, the alligator is over there, but if you do not have the radar, you cannot see this. So just follow where I go to see where you need to fish, just to save yourself a little bit of extra money off start. But once you're here, you're just going to go behind where the mushroom guy is. After you grab his quest, you're just going to hop over here to this boat, and once on the boat, you can cast anywhere on the boat. Even if you land on these seats or on the edge of the boat, it will still count as fishing in the area. So just stand all the way at the front of the boat, pretty much where I'm standing, and just look back towards the bell. You're just gonna fish there until you can catch yourself the alligator, which as you can see, we did just catch here. I think this is the alligator. It was the alligator. So once you catch yourself that, you're just going to head over here and give this to this guy. He will reward you with the fungal rod. The fungal rod is going to be your first rod with a multiplier on it. But just really quickly, let's cover the stats. With this rod, you get a 40% lure speed, 45% luck, 0 control, a 20% resilience, 200 max kg, and on top of it all, like I said, you do get the mutation, which if we quickly go to the description of the rod, you have a 30% chance for fish to be fungal, which is a 3 times multiplier, which honestly isn't even bad for starting out, and a 70% chance for the rod to sprout suspicious spores, giving you luck 10 for 45 seconds, which is really good for catching rarer fish, which will help you just gain more money overall. So what I would do starting out is once you get this, I would just head either over to Sunstone Island, or you can head over to Forsaken Shores. If you don't know where they are, I will quickly show you the direction you need to head in. I'm not going to go all the way to them, so that way I don't waste your guys' time. But from Mushgrove, you're just going to head straight east, which I kind of did run into the Shamrock Express, but you're just going to head straight east until you can get to the Sunstone Island. You can fish there for a ton of levels and a ton of other stuff. I don't know why my character is glitched like this. They really should fix this. Let's just quickly spawn our boat back in. Oh, there we go. We fixed ourselves somehow. Okay, so let's just spawn our boat back in, and then from here to get to Forsaken Shores, which is a good spot for money. I would say the best spot for XP and money is Forsaken Shores. I would say that Forsaken Shores is one of the best spots for money. You can go look at my video if you truly want to know the best spots, or the best spots for money or XP. I have 2 videos up for those, so you can just go look at those if you want. But some of those spots are Sunstone Island and Forsaken Shores. These 2 are absolutely insane, both for XP and money kind of. So once you go here, you're just going to go all the way to Sunstone Island once you get the fungal rod, and just fish there for a bit, or go to what I would recommend, Forsaken Shores. It is going to take you quite a long time to get there since you don't have the greatest boat in the game. However, you might be able to have some friends with you, or get somebody to kind of give you a ride to Forsaken Shores. And once you get to Forsaken Shores, you're just going to fish in the little pond. If you don't know where it is, just go check my video on the best money making methods or spots. That is honestly the best spot spot that you can go to. But now with that being said, I didn't want to waste too much of you guys' time, so now we can move on to the next rod, which is going to be the Phoenix Rod. The Phoenix Rod is located at Ancient Isle, so from Mushgrove Swamp, just considering we stayed here for now, yeah, we'll just say we stayed here. We're just going to head west of Mushgrove Swamp, kind of like I am on my radar, or on my top of my screen, like west, southwest-ish. That kind of is the best place to go. You're just going to watch out whenever coming here, especially on a slow boat, because these will spawn in and damage your boat. As you can see there, rocks just spawned right in front of me. And once you get to the island, you're just going to kind of follow where I go. So you're just going to follow where I kind of jump up. Actually, just to save us a little bit of time, we're going to use the zip line. And then you're just going to jump off up here. You're going to try to land up there if you don't have a glider. And then you're just going to kind of do like a shift lock jump. You're just going to kind of jump and then shift lock at the peak of your jump. It's pretty simple. Or you could just hop up here normally, I'm pretty sure too, or up these spots. I just did it. It's kind of hard to do. You have to figure out the perfect spot, or just hold down jump and just walk into it. Apparently that also works. So just continue following where I'm going. You're just going to keep heading up the hill up next to the meteor guy. Once you're next to the meteor dude, you're just going to continue up a little bit more, which right up to this tree, which as you can see, I'm barely above him. We're just going to jump over to the left here, jump up a few more times, and once we get to this point, we've pretty much made it to the height we want to be at. The main thing we're looking for is off the side. You will see a little fence kind of area right here, as you can see, and you'll see this pink flower and a little bit of vines growing over the cave. This is how you know you're at the right spot. But once you're here, you're just going to go inside, and then you will see the Phoenix Rod, which you can purchase for 50,000 credits, which honestly is pretty easy to get with that fungal rod. If you take the fungal rod to the right places, such as Forsaken Shores, that place can get you a ton of money if you fish in the little pond, especially with an aurora going, and the rod already gives you some decent luck. So you do have a pretty high chance at, you know, catching the secret there, which is the thing that gives you the most money. But let's just quickly cover the Phoenix Rod stats. So with the Phoenix Rod, you get 55% lure speed, 80% luck, a 0.02 control, 15% resilience, a max kg of 8,000 kilograms, which honestly isn't even bad. And with this rod, you have a 40% chance to be set ablaze, which is a mutation. And then you have a 10% possessing the power of the eclipse, which will give you another mutation. These mutations aren't even that bad. Both of these mutations are a 3x mutation. However, with this rod, you do get some decent kg. Like I said, you get 8,000, which is honestly pretty good. This is kind of one of those rods that you can either skip out on for now to go to the next rod, which will be a little bit better, or you can buy this one. It's kind of up to you. Like I said, this is just the best rod progression guide, so I'm going from all the way stage 1 to stage 13, so this will cover literally every type of rod in the game, no matter where you are. So this is just one of those rods that you can get if you want. This just has a higher chance to give you a multi than the fungal rod, and it has way more kg, so you can fish at some other spots besides, you know, Forsaken Shores if you really wanted to. But once you get this rod, you can then go to the next rod, which is going to be the tier 4 rod, which is the carrot rod. So if we just quickly go back to Moosewood, and from Moosewood, we're just going to head back to the Mushgrove Swamp, which you already know the location of, so I'm not going to explain it again or how to get there. You just kind of go in this direction, the northwest-west direction, and once you're here, you're just going to kind of follow where I go. You're going to go where we were fishing at the alligators earlier, and then you're going to see this little hole in the wall next to these mushrooms right here. You're just going to crawl inside, and once inside of here, you are going to have to fish in this pond until you complete the bestiary of the carrot garden, which if we quickly look in the carrot garden bestiary, there's not many fish. There's 8 fish total. You have 1 exotic, 1 mythical, 1 legendary, 1 rare, 2 uncommons, and 2 commons. So these won't take you too long to complete, in all honesty, but once you complete this, you're going to head over here to this rod, which is going to be our next rod, the carrot rod, and go ahead and purchase that for 75,000 credits, which if we quickly look up the carrot rod has a 85% lure speed, 125% luck, a 0.15 control, 25% resilience, and a max kg of 10,000 kilograms, which is honestly not even bad. And with this rod, you have a 15% chance for the carrot mutation, which is a 5 times mutation, which will help you a lot in getting money. And with this rod, you do have some pretty good luck on top of it, as you can see here, the 125%. So you can catch the secret at Forsaken Shores even more common than you already could now. There is one other thing with this rod, which is you have a 10% chance to create a carrot pool, which lasts 30 seconds, and it gives people the same odds as you have to catch the carrot mutation. Just other people can fish in it besides just you, or fish for the carrot mutation besides just you. That's all it really does. So it's not that useful to you, but if other players starting out around you, it will help them a little bit as well. And from this rod, we can can then move on to the next one, which is going to be the Fallen Rod. The Fallen Rod is a really good rod, but there are two rods that I would rank for this tier, you know, because there are some rods in these that are good, but there's some that like you guys might not like too much if you like fishing at other spots. Like me personally, I'm not the greatest fan of the Fallen Rod because I don't like where it's at, which we're going to go to now. So once you get out of the Carrot Garden, you're just going to walk through that portal. It will teleport you right back to the shipwright. Don't ask how I got my boat over there. We don't talk about it. We're just gonna hop on the boat, and then once you hop on your boat, you're just going to head to the Tidefall area, which is towards the, let's see, southwest of Moosewood, or to the kind of southwest of Mushgrove Swamp. You're just going to head over here. You are going to need yourself some diving gear to get down here, so you're going to have to go purchase yourself some diving gear, and then once you get your diving gear, you're just going to use any type of way to get down. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to swim all the way down. I'm just going to use this to speed me up a little bit, and once inside the Tidefall area, you're going to get a cutscene when you first drop in here. You're just going to fall straight down pretty much, and then you will land right next to the Fallen Rod. The Fallen Rod you can purchase for 175 credits, as you can see there. And let's just quickly cover the stats on the Fallen Rod. The Fallen Rod has 70% lure speed, 95% luck, a 0.12 control, 30% resilience, and 80,000 max kg, which honestly isn't even bad. However, there are some hidden stats with this rod, so let me quickly go over those. So if you're not below a Y level of -400, you will be getting a -25% fish weight. If you're, let's say if I'm fishing at Moosewood Island, all my fish would be smaller than usual because of the fish weight being nerfed because of this rod. That's why I said this rod is one of those rods that some of you might not like. However, when below a Y level of -400, such as down in Tidefall, you have a 50% chance for the Fallen mutation, which is a 6x mutation, and a plus 50% fish weight increase. So pretty much, I think every fish you catch with this should be big, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just quickly check that. So let's just catch this fish really quickly and see what it is. Okay, so I was wrong. It's not always going to be big, but you have a higher chance at it being big, or just at a higher weighted fish, which will give you more money. Like if we just quickly look at this fish, like this is only 76 credits, but if we keep fishing here just for a few seconds, I don't want to waste too much time. Again, I don't think we got the Fallen mutation on this, unfortunately. Let's just try one more time before we leave, and I still don't think we got the Fallen mutation, which is just unfortunate. Honestly, I don't know how I'm this unlucky. It's a 50% chance. I'm just super unlucky when it comes to this rod. This rod hates me and I also hate it, so you know, that's fine. But the other rod I would recommend is the Trident Rod. The Trident Rod is the second recommendation for this stage. If you don't know how to get the Trident Rod, I will quickly show you. So to get this rod, you are going to have to head to the Desolate Deep. If you don't know how to get to the Desolate Deep, you're going to go in between Sunstone Island and the statue, which is just kind of this direction. You're just going to head straight north pretty much, and just put your camera in the water so it's easier to see. We're going to turn to the left a slight little bit. Once you see these rocks load in, you'll see a little bit of seaweed, and then this hole in the floor, and a little thing right here where you can buy yourself some diving gear, which you probably came here earlier trying to get some diving gear to go down into Tidefall. But once you get that, you're just going to go ahead and swim on down. And once down here, just be very careful to not hit any of these sea mines. They will explode and kill you. And then you're just going to go to the left. So to get this rod, you are going to need to complete the bestiary here, and you're going to need some other stuff, which you will see in just a second. So inside of this area, you're just going to dive into the water. Make sure you don't hit any of these sea mines like I said earlier. You're going to look for a huge skeletal remain like this one, and once you find it, you're just going to go to the end of one of these sides. It should be the one over here with the coral. Well, I guess technically both of them have coral in the middle, but once you go to the right side, you will see this little spot down here. You're just going to swim into it, which it is a little tricky to get through, so it might take you a bit. And then once inside of this room, you are going to need some enchant relics. They could be any type of enchant relic. I think you can use these same ones. Let me just quickly check. I have a ton of enchant relics, so we're just going to use a whole bunch of these ones. Like, oh my god, I have 276 Noxious ones, so we're just going to put these down, which as you can see here, these do open it. This is all you need is to put just any enchant relic down. They could be the same type, and then they will all start lighting up like this and open the big wall, which you probably can't really hear me because it is super loud. But once you open that, you would then go into this room where you can buy yourself a conception conch to get out, and you can go over here to the Trident Rod and purchase it for 150,000, which is pretty good. This rod is really good. If we just quickly look at the Trident stats, with this rod you have 35% lure speed, 150% luck, a 0.05 control, a 0% resilience, which is kind of bad, a max kg of 6,000, and a disturbance of +3. So what disturbance does, if you don't know, disturbance will basically just disturb hunts such as the Omnithal, claw, the skeletal leviathan, like stuff like that. It would just summon those in just from fishing really anywhere. It has a random chance to summon one unless you fish in the area. So such as I'm fishing in Scoria Reach at the place that the skeletal leviathan appears, I would then be counting all that disturbance towards that hunt. So that's just kind of the way disturbance works. But let's just quickly go back to Moosewood to show you how this works. So with this rod, you have a 25% chance per fish movement to stab for 6% progress and a 30% chance for Atlantean, which is a 4x mutation, which is kind of bad now that I think about it. But I mean, it's not a bad rod overall. It's a pretty simple rod to get. You could use this instead of some of the other rods on this list. Like I said, you could skip around as much as you want in this, video. But as you can see, every time the fish moves, which it doesn't really move much because we're fishing here, but for large fish, it's really useful. Like every fish movement, like it's doing now, has a chance for it to stab the fish and give you plus 6% progress speed from what you already have, which is super good. With that being said, now we can move on to the next one, which is going to be the tier 6. Tier 6, the rod that I would recommend is going to be a quite annoying rod to get. It is the toxic spire rod. The toxic spire rod will cost you 170,000 credits. However, this is a crafting rod, so you are going to need to unlock a crafting area to craft this. However, there is another tier 6 rod that we will talk about in just a minute once we get done covering this rod. For the toxic spire rod, you are going to need one toxic core, which you can get from the temple at the Lost Jungle. If you don't know how to get to the temple, just kind of follow where I go. I'm going to quickly show you. I'm not going to go through the puzzles and how to beat them, but I will just quickly show you how to, get into the temple, because a lot of the stuff you need to craft this rod is going to be found inside of this temple. So once at the Lost Jungle, you're just going to follow this bridge across, and once you cross this bridge, you could see this little area up here with some green fog and a kind of cave thing going into the ground. You're just going to use the rope to get down, and once inside, you are then going to have to go through these rooms such as these and complete the tiers of these in order. I believe you have to do them in order, so you're just gonna have to go through to where these little X's are on this and complete all these. For this one right here, there is a tip I would recommend. When you go in first person and look up, there will be 2 dots above your head from where your username is. You're going to line that up with the path on the ceiling because it's an invisible like flooring part that you have to go through. It's really weird, but you're just going to kind of do that to get through there. It will help you a lot of getting through there. Just keep that dot centered into the middle of the platform. It will look something like this but put up onto the ceiling for the maze part. So you're just going to kind of line your dot up in the middle of the center. So say my mouse cursor was the middle, you're just going to line it up and keep walking, and then you return. Just make sure you don't turn too much to fall off. Just make sure you pretty much stop about in the middle right there, and then go ahead and turn yourself over and continue going. But it will help you a lot get that done. Just go ahead through this whole entire temple really and just complete everything because it's going to help you in the long run. But just to quickly cover, you are going to need the 1 toxic core, which we already said, the 1 murky thread, which you get from the temple, and then this is the one thing that you're going to get that isn't in the temple, but this is the perfect time to get this. If you're going to get it, I would get it now. You're going to need yourself a poisoned driftwood, which if I quickly check, I don't really think I have any. I don't even think I have any driftwood on me. I actually don't. The only ones I have are the supersized one from the admin events. But once you get one of those, you're just going to head to the Shamrock Express. There's an appraiser on the Shamrock Express, which you can use to get some pretty good, chances at the appraisals. So what you're going to need is that poison driftwood. And just to quickly show you how rare this is just from the regular merchant, poison is a 0.145% chance of getting from appraising, which is absolutely insane. This did take me quite a long time to get, but once you get all that stuff that I have said or recommended to get, not really recommended, what I've told you to get, you're just going to spawn your boat in and head back to the Ancient Isle. And this is one of those spots where I'm going to put another rod in the video, which I will talk about in just a minute once we get done covering this, like I said earlier, just so you have another option if you don't want to unlock the crafting area. However, this rod is a little bit annoying to get, a little bit more annoying than this rod, honestly. But for this rod, you're just going to go up here, follow up the zip line. You're going to jump off around this tree right here next to the zip line where it goes across the waterfall. You're going to drop down here, do a little bit of a jump across, and go into this little cave. And then you're going to see this rope. You're just going to use the rope, climb on down, and once inside of here, you are going to need some people. Actually, wait, that's crazy. I think they removed the people part of this. So what you're going to need to do is just get the fragments from all around Forsaken Shores, or Ancient Isle, I meant, sorry. All around Ancient Isle, you're just going to look for those fragments, such as the Ancient Fragment, the Deep Sea Fragment, the Solar Fragment, and the Earth Fragment. The Earth Fragment, I can't remember where you find this. I think you get it from where the Phoenix Rod is, if I'm correct. The Solar one, I can't really remember. You're going to have to look up where to get all these. I can't really truly remember where to get them. And then you're just going to place them all on their pedestal. And then you're going to point all these towards the middle of the area right here, towards this little sundial thing. And once you point them all right here, this door will then open up for you. You might need some people to help you with that. I'm not too sure. The pressure plates aren't there anymore, which is kind of weird. But once you get in here, you are going to need yourself a glider, so that way you can jump and go ahead and cross this path. And then you're going to be at the anvil right here. So you're just going to click on it and scroll down or scroll wherever until we can find the toxic spire rod, which you can see right here. As you can see, this rod gives you 87% lure speed, 248% luck, a 0.3 control, which is really good, a minus 20% resilience, which is really bad. That's the only bad thing about this rod. And then the how much kg is that? 100,000 max kg, which honestly isn't even bad. Which if we just quickly equip the toxic spire rod, let's just quickly fully search it so that way we can see these stats. I'm just gonna search toxic, so there we go. And as you can see, you get a plus 20% progress speed and a plus 2 disturbance. However, with this rod, let's just quickly read the description. Tainted power seeps into the catch, slowing it with each struggle. A 15% chance, a 15% toxic strike will paralyze it completely, granting 70% faster progress, which I don't really know what that means. Let me just quickly see. Yeah, so with this rod, you get a plus 20% progress speed, a 15% chance to slow fish movement by 5 times, and grant plus 70% progress speed. And then you also have a 15% chance for the toxic mutation, which is a 6 times mutation, which is really good. But now we can go on to the other rod that I was going to recommend, which this rod is going to be a little bit annoying to get. However, it is better than the toxin burst rod. So the next rod that we are going to be covering is going to be the Sunken rod. The Sunken rod is going to be our next rod. Let's just quickly cover these stats and then we can go over how to obtain this rod. For this rod, it gives you 50% lure speed, 150% luck, a 0.15 control, a 15% resilience, and a 25,000 max kg, which honestly isn't even bad. So let's just quickly read the description. An ancient coral encrusted rod found in shipwreck depths, radiating faint power to lure rare fish. Every 10 catches gain a 25% higher chance to pull up a treasure map. All fish have 8% chance to be sunken, which Sunken, the mutation for this rod, is a 6.3x multiplier, which honestly is pretty good. But now we can start talking about how to get this rod, which was kind of hinted in the description, where it says treasure maps. So to get this rod, you are going to have to do treasure maps. If you don't know how to complete treasure maps, all you're going to do is fish around until you can get yourself a ton of treasure maps, which if we quickly look, I have a ton of these, which is absolutely insane because I just don't open them anymore. Ever since I got this rod, I've quit opening them, which I do have a skin on for it. So once you get your treasure maps, what you're going to do is head to the Forsaken Shores, which is to the southeast of Moosewood. You're just going to head straight over this direction until you hit the Forsaken Shores area. And once here, you're just going to kind of go to the right and follow these ladders right here up until you can get up to this part right here. I'm just going to jump up because it's way faster instead of me having to climb. And then you're just going to follow this path around the edge. You're going to jump down right here onto the side and just jump inside the eye of the skull. And then you're going to see Jack Marrow here. You're just going to speak to him. And once you speak to him, he will then ask you, how can I help you? You're just going to say, can you reveal all these maps? You're going to purchase those, which will cost you a decent amount of money. But trust me when I tell you, it is completely fine and worth it, which that was for the max amount of maps in my inventory. So 25 is the max amount you can hold. So it only cost, what, 8,750, I think it was, to, reveal all the maps, which then you're just going to hold out your map. You're just going to follow where this little arrow points. So for us, the arrow is pointing towards this direction. I do know a lot of these spawn locations, so once I just figure out the island, I could probably easily find it, which I think it is going to be a snowcap island one. So let me just quickly see, which as you can see right there is our chest. So opening these, once you open a total of, after opening a total of 50 of these treasure chests, you will then be guaranteed the Sunken rod, which honestly isn't even that bad of odds. Honestly, you just have to open 50 of them. So just from fishing around up to this point, if you do those treasure maps while you were fishing, just when you can, or when you get to the max amount, you should have this rod already then, which that is just the pity to get it guaranteed. So you can get this before that. It is a 1.6% chance of getting, so it is kind of rare, but you're just going to open these chests and then you have a chance at getting some random stuff. Like I get truffle worm, which I'm not going to complain about because truffle worm is a good bait that you can use, but that is the other stage, 6 rod, I think it was stage 6. Yeah, stage 6 rod. And now we can go on to the stage 7, which is going to be the Bloom Spire Blooming Splendor rod, which is going to cost you, this is the biggest jump for these rods. I'm just going to let you know now. So this rod is going to cost you quite a lot, but this is an optional rod. However, this is going to be a really good rod for a decent amount of time. So to get this rod, you're just going to head back to the Lost Jungle, and once you reach the Lost Jungle, you're just going to kind of follow where I go. You're going to go over to these little huts over here, and once you're at these huts, you're just going to kind of go to where this little archway is, where the waterfall is falling down, which you're just going to go in between here inside the cave where you see this rod. You're just going to go to the left up here where you see this guy. You're going to purchase yourself a gas mask, and then just follow this tunnel down, and once you get all the way to the bottom, you guys will see me there, which I'm about to be there in just a second. So let me just quickly go down there. I'm just going to use my mystic mirror. So once you make it down here, what you're going to do is just walk over to the left over here. You're going to complete all the quests in this area. So this guy's quest, or actually I think you can skip that guy's. Whichever one wants the seed from this place, you don't need to give it to him. You can skip out on that one, but you're going to just grab this guy's quest. The guy's quest that's all the way up here, you're just going to grab, which a lot of you probably already have this done. So you're just going to grab these quests and this quest right here. And once you complete all those, including this person's quest, you should then be rewarded. I think you might only have to complete that person's quest. Honestly, I can't remember. I did all of them at once, so I don't really know. And then you're going to get yourself the toxic proof raft. You're just going to spawn that in down here. Make sure you don't fall in the water, because you will die if you do. And then you're just going to kind of take your boat across this water once you unlock this area. And then once you get over here, I would then show you how to get the rod, which it is kind of complicated. I'll explain it the best way I can. So the first thing you're going to do when you get here is just look around for these little things right here. If you go up to them, you will then be able to open them, and some of them will grant you a seed. As you can see there, we got a cyan seed. You're going to keep fishing until you can get yourself a cyan seed, or I think I gotta check which seeds actually work. I know them off the name, but I can't think of the name of them. Let me quickly check this bestiary. So we are in the living garden right now. So the cyan seed, the canary seed, or the living seed I think will work, or actually no, I think it was the cyan, canary, or the violet. So those three, once you get those, you're going to kind of fish here until you can catch yourself the exotic, which will pop up. It will say the flower guardian has appeared in the living garden. You're just going to fish here until you can catch it yourself. Once you catch one, you're just going to come over here, plant your seed down. So our cyan seed that we have, we're just going to plant that down. And once you plant it, don't wait the whole time for this to go off. You're just going to go ahead into your inventory and grab yourself whatever the person was calling, and I keep forgetting, the flower guardian. You're just going to grab the flower guardian out and just hold it next to this, and then you will see the bloom spire rod sprout up out of the floor, which then you can buy it for 1,250,000 credits, which honestly isn't even that bad. So if you just go ahead and purchase that, and then let's just quickly look at the stats of the default bloom spire rod, which I think I can do by just pressing this. The default stats of this aren't good at all. You have a 15% lure speed, a 0% luck, a 0 control, a 10% resilience, and a max kg of 1,000, which is absolutely horrible. However, if you plant yourself a living seed, I think I actually have one. Let me check my seeds again. I don't have one. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go around here and open up these flowers until you can get yourself the living seed, which I will try my best to get one, which we just have this last one to open. So this is our last one that we can open, and we didn't get it, but we did spawn in the flower guardian. I don't know if there's an actual way to spawn this in. I think it might just be a chance from opening those. I'm not too sure. So we're just going to quickly catch this. We're just going to use a decent rod. I'm just going to use my Masterline for fun, just to see if we can catch it with this thing. See if we can get the ascended mutation. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and try to catch it for forever. It's not really a point since I already own like multiple of them. Actually, wait, there might be a point. Give me 1 second. Let me check. Never mind. Yeah, so there's no point of gathering those. So what you're going to do is just collect those flowers up until you get yourself the living seed. You're then going to plant the living seed right around over here. And once you get that, you should get something called the living lotus, which I actually have 2 of, which if you hover over it, used to upgrade the bloom spire. So what you're going to do is just equip the bloom spire rod. And once you equip it, you're just going to pull out the living lotus that you got from, you know, planting the seed. You're just going to click on it, and it will then upgrade your bloom spire to this white version. I believe it's the white version. Let me quickly check. Yes, okay, so it's the green one. My bad. I thought it'd be the white one since the flower is kind of like a white color. Oh, no, it's not. It's pink. Ignore me. I just had a stupid moment. We don't talk about it. But you're just going to use the green version of this rod. And with this, as you can see, the stats on this rod got really insane really quickly. 95% lure speed, 200% luck, a 0.2 control, a 20% resilience, and a 1 million max kg. And on top of all of that, you have a 50% chance for the vitalic mutation, which is an 8 times mutation. This is the best one that you're going to get for a while. So either you can skip this stage, or or come back to it later on. This is just the best one off of the stage, and on top of it you have a plus 25% weight increase on your fish and a 10% chance to stab every 2 seconds for plus 1.5% progress. Chance increases by 1% every second, plus 1 stab every time a stab is triggered, which is absolutely insane. So let's just quickly see if we can catch this flower guardian. Where did she go? There she is. So we're just gonna go over here and try to catch her. The only bad thing about this rod is the lure speed, which you can kind of upgrade with like hasty or something like that, or just a decent enchant. So as you can see, it stabbed, and then it had the double stab, so it just increases the stabs, which is absolutely insane. So this is one of those more like OP rods, I would say. Which if we just quickly, I just want to see, I want to actually try to catch this. Let's just pop a luck potion. Let's pop a sundial so that way we can get it to night, so that way I can use an aurora just to see if we can catch this thing, because I am very curious. I really want to try to hook onto it with this rod. I should be able to because the luck is super high. So now we're just going to pop our aurora and see what we can do now. So let's just quickly throw this out. Come on, let's see if we can hook onto it really quickly. We did catch the mythical here, which is easy to catch. Very, very easy to catch. Come on, I just want to catch this fish really quickly. We'll give it 2 more casts so that way I don't waste too much time down here, because this recording has already been around 40 minutes long and we're only around halfway through. Okay, so we're just gonna quit there because that mythic took quite a long time to catch. But the next rod we are going to be going for is the Pinions aria. If you don't know how to get the Pinions aria, I will quickly explain. You're going to need to go into the vertigo. If you don't know how to get to the vertigo, you're just going to go through the strange whirlpools. It will randomly say at the top of the screen. They have a chance to take over the regular whirlpools, but once you find one of those, you're just going to go inside of there, which I'm just going to use a conception conch because I have my home set down in that kind of area. But once you go through the vertigo, you're just going to go and collect yourself a key and complete the vertigo bestiary down there to get to the depths. Once you unlock the depths, you're just going to kind of go behind where the merchant area is. You're going to go on the complete opposite side of where the merchants are. So the merchants on this side, you're just going to go around the right, and then once you reach right here, you will see this little bridge thing right here. You're just going to jump across to it with your glider, jump up. You're just going to follow this path all the way back to where this kind of pinkish red crystal is, which you'll know you're in the right spot if you look up on the ceiling and see this little spot with a green and blue mushroom. And we're just going to go over here and walk inside of here, and once inside of here, you're going to need to come up here. Just be careful to not fall in the water. You will die, so I would set your home down here, honestly, because this place is really annoying to get to, having to find a strange whirlpool every time. That's why I didn't. You're going to need yourself a chaotic enchant relic. If you don't know how to get chaotic, you can get it from the dusk wire. I'm not going to show how to get the dusk wire. You can get it from there, or you can get it from the chaotic enchant, or whatever the frick it's called. I can't remember the name of it. Whatever it's called something like that. But once you get that, you will then hear the strange sound of something opening. So if you go to where the waterfall is at the back of this area over here, you're going to fall inside of this little area right here. Once inside of here, you will see this little underground music venue. You're going to go over to this lady right here. As you can see, she has the Pinions aria right in front of her on the ground. So you're just going to follow her quest line to complete it. And once completing her quest line, you will then be rewarded with the Pinions aria. So the Pinions aria has 142% lure speed, 242% luck, 0 control, a 4.2 resilience, which is perfectly fine. I'll explain why, and a infinite kg. It also has 0% progress speed, and the hunt focus is a plus 15 for the wyvern, which if you don't know where the wyvern is, you will learn very quickly off of just completing her quest and going above the clouds, because that is where that thing spawns. Pinion aria has a ton of stats, so I'm not going to cover all of them. I'm just going to cover the multi. The multi is a 4.2x multiplier. I will quickly show you how this rod kind of works though. So with this rod, you're going to kind of want to catch these notes with your progress bar. If you miss one, it will do this right here. As you can see, it gave us some minus progress speed and stuff like that. You're going to have to sacrifice some of your progress speed to get even more, which this will be a good example of it. So as you can see, this fish is moving absolutely everywhere, which is perfectly fine, which I kind of caught that really quickly. But how this rod works is if you catch these fish like with this rod, if we just miss a few just a test, try to get off of it so it loses a little bit of progress speed. And now we're going to start catching these and missing some of the thing a little bit, so that way we don't catch it instantly. But if we catch enough notes, as you can see, the line will start following our rod. However, our progress bar gets really tiny, which makes it harder to catch notes, which if you catch all of the notes, you do get a perfect catch. So it's really useful for completing perfect catch quests, such as the one down in the toxic area, the toxic grove, I think it's called. Yeah, the toxic grove. Grove. It will help you complete that area. But now we can move on to the next rod, which is going to be the Elder Moss Ripper. The Elder Moss Ripper is yet another craftable rod. For this rod, you will need one Elder Moss Jaw, which I'll explain how to get, one Mossy Core, which I'll also explain how to get, and one Shrouded Golden Sea Pearl. Shrouded is a 0.029% chance from appraising, which is pretty low odds, but that's why this is the perfect time to get this rod, because of the lucky appraiser on the boat or on the Shamrock Express. So for the Elder Moss Ripper, it is going to cost you 350,000 credits to craft, which honestly isn't even that bad. But for the Elder Moss Jaw, it kind of calls back to the temple. So once you completed all those quests in the temple, you then got yourself a temple eye, or well, once you kind of come back to the temple and place all your stuff that you got in these little selected things, it'll tell you what they need if you try to click on them. It'll tell you what they need. I've already placed them, so it won't tell me. And then it will open up this little area down here, and then randomly it will just say a Moss Jaw has spawned. You're going to come down here and just fish here, but you're going to have to wait until it says the Elder Moss Jaw, which is kind of rare to spawn. I do have a few of these, I thought anyway. Actually, I might not. Yeah, actually, never mind. I thought I had a few Elder ones. I don't. Never mind. I was gonna say I would give some away if I had them, but I don't. Never mind. But you're just going to kind of sit down here until the Elder Moss Jaw spawns in, and upon catching him, you will also be rewarded with the one Mossy Core that you need. And once you get both of those things, so the Elder Moss Jaw and the Mossy Core, you're just going to go to the behind Roselet and just kind of get a ton of Golden Sea Pearls. I do have Golden Sea Pearls. If I search them, Golden Sea Pearl, I have a ton of these. If you need to see how to get them, I have a video that you guys can go look at to get a ton of Golden Sea Pearls with absolute ease. They did change up the rod that you use a little bit, but not too bad. Let's just quickly cover where you need to go to even be able to do this. So let's just spawn in a boat, a fun boat. Let's just spawn in the Leviathan. Where do you even write it on the Leviathan? Oh, on a Trident. Okay, that's kind of cool. I've never used this boat. Oh, that's sick. The fins actually move. Wait, that's actually amazing. So with this boat, we're just going to head all the way over to Ancient Isle. Again, because this is a crafting rod, and we're just going to do the same thing we did earlier, getting up to the island. You're just going to hop across here, jump off around the tree. I'm just going to glide down here because you already should know how to get down here or into the waterfall area. And then you're just going to go down the rope. And once down the rope, you're just going to cross the path again. And once you make it to the anvil, you're going to open it up and go and look for the Elder Moss Ripper rod. And once you have those requirements of the Elder Moss Jaw, the Mossy Core, and the Shrouded Golden Sea Pearl, which you can just appraise the Golden Sea Pearl for Shrouded, like I said earlier, and then you can buy the rod for 350,000, which we can quickly cover the stats on the Elder Moss Ripper. This is one of my favorite rods in the entire game for catching rare fish. So you have a 90% lure speed, a 215% luck, a 0.2 control, 50% resilience, infinite KG, a plus 30% progress speed, plus 3 disturbance, and a plus 8 disturbance for the Moss Jaw hunt focus, which honestly isn't even that bad, but that's not where this is really good. We'll just quickly cover the stats on this rod and why it is so good. Just give me 1 second. So with this rod, you get a 45% fish weight increase, a 20% chance for the Shrouded mutation, which is a 7 times mutation, a 5% chance for the Mossy mutation, which is a 8.7x mutation, and every 2 minutes receive higher chance to catch a higher rarity fish with Mossy. So you can catch all the way up to, I think, an apex fish, which is absolutely insane. Let me quickly just double check that. Yeah, so you have the chances to catch every 2 minutes a legendary fish at a 28% chance, a mythical fish at a 24, an exotic at a 21, a secret at a 16, and an apex fish at an 11%, which is absolutely insane. Like, I've caught the Ash Claw with this thing, if you want to see it. Like, I've caught the Ash Claw, I've caught a few skeletal leviathans. Like, as you can see, my largest skeletal leviathan has been caught with this rod. This is just a regular one I caught. I gave my other one away to my buddy for some stuff. I've caught a lot of stuff with this rod. Like, if I just quickly search Mossy, I probably have a lot. Like, yeah, the Molten Ripple, the Molten Banshee, Mustard, Boots, Rocket Fuel, Long Pike, and more boots. Like, I've caught a lot of stuff with this rod. Like, some of them aren't going to be worth too much, but the Skeletal Leviathan being worth 1,127,000 was absolutely insane. But that's the main reason I really like that rod, because of how broken it truly is. I do have a skin for it, so that's why it looks like this, but it is an absolute insane rod overall. But now we can move on to the next rod, which is going to be the Plague Reaver rod. The Plague Reaver rod is quite an annoying rod to get. You're going to have to head back down into the Toxic Grove. I'm just going to use my Mystic Mirror again. I'm not going to head all the way down there again. You should already know how to get down here, and once you're down here, you're going to have to complete this guy's quest right here. Upon completing his quest, they are kind of annoying, so I do have some tips for you. For catching the Rot Bloom, what you're going to have to do is just get here with a decent rod with some high disturbance and just kind of fish here for a bit. Just keep fishing until it spawns, and once it spawns, have one of your friends or just one person that you know, or you guys can go into my Discord and kind of help each other out by getting this. You can just kind of collect the mushrooms for each other and go one at a time to get the fish. But for this, I would recommend just using any rod with some pretty decent, stats on it. The rods I would honestly recommend are something like Requiem. Requiem is a really good rod, which we'll cover how to get in this video. It is one of the later rods and it is insanely good. I didn't mess mine up with the stat thing. I was trying to increase it more because I was greedy, and yeah, did not end well for me. Or you can use something like the Ruinous Oath, just really anything. You can honestly even use the Elder Mossripper, the rod we were just talking about getting. You can use that right here, and upon fishing every 2 minutes, you have a chance to catch the Rot Bloom, which is absolutely insane. However, for one of his quests, you will need the Wither Bloom. If you don't know how to spawn in the Wither Bloom, you're going to have to fish in this area. I think you have to fish in a boil, in a toxic boil. Once you fish in there, you have a chance to get the Blight Idol, which then once a regular Rot Bloom spawns, you're going to then equip your Blight Idol, come over here and just click it, and it will then transform it into the Wither Bloom, which will then have somebody go back and pick up the stuff. But this is definitely a good recommendation, is using Pinions Aria, because you are going to need to perfect catch it, which is going to take you a few tries, I'm not gonna lie. So you're just gonna fish here with this rod until you can perfect catch it. Like I said earlier, Pinions Aria considers perfect catches catching every music note, not as much as not letting it off your bar. So just collect every note while fishing, which does get increasingly difficult, especially later. And upon completing this guy's quest, he will then ask you for a total of $13,750,000, which is absolutely insane. But hey, this rod is pretty good, I can't lie. Let's just quickly cover the stats. You have a 15% lure speed, 175% luck, a 0.4 control, 0 resilience, which is kind of bad, a infinite KG, and a plus 75% progress speed with a plus 5 disturbance and a plus 5 hunt focus for the Rot Bloom, or disturbance for the Rot Bloom, which is absolutely insane. So let me just quickly go to the stage with this rod on it. So let's just quickly cover all the hidden stats as well. So you get 75% progress speed with this rod. You have a 15% chance for the Plagued Mutation, which is a 10 times mutation, which is absolutely insane. A 40% progress at the start of the mini game from Falling Sword. So whenever you cast this, it has the same thing that the Wind Elemental rod has, where whenever the fish hooks on, a sword will then fall from the sky, as you will see in just a second here. As you can see, a big sword falls from the sky and gives us a ton of progress speed. And as you can see, the progress bar on this rod is absolutely insane. And you get 2% chance per fish movement to stab for plus 20% progress, stunning the fish for 5 seconds, which is absolutely insane for catching exotic fish, secret fish, apex fish, literally everything. Like, this is one of the better rods in the entire game. And now we can move on to the stage 11 rod, which is where we are going to cover the Requiem Rod. So for the Requiem Rod, this is yet another high dollar rod, I can't lie. It is 15 million credits. It is a crafting rod. You will need 5 Requiem Essence, which I'll explain how to get, 1 Requiem Core, which I'll also explain how to get, 2 Awakened Omnithals, which I'll explain how to get yet again, and a Fossilized Plesiosaur. If you don't know how to get those, just wait for one to spawn inside the Tidefall area, and then you just go in there and catch it. And same with the Awakened Omnithal, you have to wait for one to spawn inside of the Sunken Reliquary down inside of the Tidefall area, and then you go and catch it. But Fossilized is a 0.116% chance from appraising, which is a pretty low odds. But with that being said, let's go ahead and quickly head over to Tidefall, which is where you will obtain this rod for yourself in the Sunken Reliquary. It's actually insane how fast this boat actually is. Like, they have a 255 speed boat for free. It is just kind of a big boat. It does take quite a decent amount of time to accelerate, as you can see. It's the only downside. Then you're just going to run into Tidefall. Sir, you aren't supposed to park there. We're just going to go down into this little area, back down into Tidefall. And once down inside of Tidefall, what you're going to do is head over to the right. When you fall down, you're going to see these little glowing vines right here. You're going to head this way until you see the Sunken Reliquary pop up, and just go inside of this area. You're going to go all the way to the end until you see a glowing blue guy right there. You can see him down there. We're just going to go over to him, and then you're going to have to talk to him and complete some of his quests. Upon completing his quest, he would then ask you to get an Awakened Omnithal. So what I would do, I would fish down here until you can get one to spawn. Again, use a high disturbance rod, which I would just recommend something like the, what was it called? I can't remember the name of it. I can never remember the name of this rod. The Igneous Rupture, that's what it is, with Ferocious and Vicious on it, which boost your, overall disturbance. I have a 10% or 10 disturbance on this rod that isn't even a hunt focus, and I have the +5 for the Skeletal Leviathan hunt focus. So I have a chance to spawn in the Skeletal Leviathan with this rod and, just kind of get this. I didn't even realize the design design on this rod. Wait, that's actually sick. Now that I look at it, it's like a dragon design on the side. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Just fish here with this rod until you can summon the awakened Omnithaw, and then pop yourself a glitched potion. I honestly highly recommend popping glitched potions while trying to catch it. And then once you catch it, you can then go ahead and take one over to this guy over here and give it to him for his quest. Upon completing his quest, he will then give you the core that you will need. So the what's it called? The Requiem core. And for the Requiem essence, what I would do is, as you can see, I have a few of them. I have 4. You can get them from your aquariums. So from your items that you get in your aquarium, if I can find one. I know I have some in here. I think I might have passed it. I did scroll kind of fast. Like, as you can see, I have Thalos essence, Thalos, whatever it's called. At that essence, I have the Tide essence. Yeah, so I just have a few essence in here. I don't know if I have the right one, but you can get it from there. Or what you could do, if you have some dripstone totems, what you can do is spawn in the dripstone like this. Go to where it says it's falling. It might not say it there, but it will tell you right here. It's telling me the Tidefall Castle, which I'm not going to go all the way to. But you're just going to go to wherever that tells you to go to and just kind of break the dripstone with a pickaxe if you have one. I can't remember how you get the pickaxe. You're just going to mine out all the dripstone over there with this, and you have a chance to get the essence from that. Upon getting those 2 things and the fossilized, what was it again? The fossilized plesiosaur from down here, or just the regular plesiosaur, and then just making it fossilized at the appraisal. You're then going to head over to the Ancient Isle once again for the final time in this video. Thank God, I'm so sick of going to this place. And then you're just going to craft it up over there, which you should know the drill by now. Once you get to Ancient Isle, you're just going to go inside the waterfall and just kind of go to the enchant area. So I'm just going to quickly get there by just doing this. Get a high jump. There we go. Okay, now that we're inside of this area, we're just going to cross this bridge. And then across this bridge, you will then scroll down and see Requiem. As you can see, it's going to cost you a few things to craft. I do actually have an awakened Omnithaw, as you can see here. I actually have 2 of them. I need one of these for my aquarium though, so this one. So I'm willing to give away this one though. So if you guys do want a chance to win it, go ahead and join the Discord. I will be giving this away after this video is posted. So if you do want a chance to win this for your, this isn't really good for anything, I'm gonna be honest, besides this. So if you don't need this, please do not enter in this giveaway. It is not good for anything. As you can see, it only sells for 4,000 because of the husk mutation. But I would just kind of, if you need the Requiem Rod and if you need an awakened Omnithaw, then just come to my Discord server, link in the description, like I said earlier, and just look in the giveaways channel. I'll be giving it away in there after this video is posted. But once you craft this rod, we're going to quickly look at the stats of Requiem, and then we'll explain how this rod works. For the best enchants, I would recommend something like Sea Overlord or Greedy. Greedy is a good replacement for Sea Overlord, and Sea Prince. Thank you to my buddy Jedi for finding this stuff out. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description down below. Make sure you guys do go subscribe to him. He was a big help in figuring out how good this Requiem Rod actually was. I just want to give his flowers where they are due. So with this rod, you have 120% progress speed, or sorry, lure speed. What am I saying? 120% lure speed, 277% luck, a 0.1 control, 63% resilience, a max kg of 1.5 million, and a disturbance of +2, and the hunt focus is the Omnithaw +3, which is absolutely insane. So this rod is really good. We're going to go back to Moosewood so I can quickly explain how this rod even works before we move on to our next one. So this rod is really weird. I've covered this rod so many times because this is one of the best rods in the game. So you're just going to cast it, and upon just like using the rod, you'll see that it doesn't look that good. As you can see here, it doesn't look like it's doing anything special right now. But however, if you click at a decent rate, however, the only warning is if you click too fast like this. Let's say if I click too fast, it would just snap my line. But as you kind of saw there, if you click at the perfect speed, which I'll show one time real quick, just watch the progress bar. I messed up. That's awkward. Anyway, if you watch the progress bar, hopefully I won't mess it up this time. You can see it is kind of flying by. You could do this on any fish. It could be an apex fish, a secret fish, the admin fish. It could be any fish. This rod is the best rod for one, your aquarium, and two, for just overall your, just selling profits, because the multiplier on this rod is actually insanely good. So the husk mutation is a 20% chance of getting, but it is a 0.15x mutation. While catching a husk fish activates arcane finality, I guess that's how you say that, multiply final fish weight by 0.4, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it's worth it. Grants a duplicate fish with Requiem a 9.8x multiplier and final fish weight multiplied by a 1.6x multiplier. Every start and end of an input while the fish is on the bar grants +5 progress. Spamming too fast will snap this reel, as I showed earlier. So this rod is really good. So what you're going to do whenever fishing for like awakened Omnithaws, let's say, or either like just some rare stuff if you want to catch it, if you don't have it with like a yellow clearish color, I'll quickly show what it looks like, or attempt to show. I'm getting so unlucky today. I don't know what my luck is. We saw that earlier from the fallen rod. Okay, I just can't get it apparently. Okay, we're just going to show you one that I've already caught because it ain't looking like it's going to work. I'm going to cast one more time. Okay, I quit. We give up, but I'll just quickly show one with husk as I showed you earlier. So it will have this kind of yellowish tint to it, but it's mostly clear. But once you hook one that looks like this, what you're going to do is then just catch it there. If it doesn't look like this, do not catch it. It will not duplicate it. That is your only warning. And you can use a glitch potion on top of this, which will then dupe your husk one. It will not give you another Requiem one though, just so you know. But with that out the way, we can then move on to the next rod and one of the final rods, which is going to be the Fabulous Rod. The Fabulous Rod is obtained in the Calm Zone from completing the Fabulous quest, which is really annoying. If you don't know how to get to the Fabulous area or to the Calm Zone, what you're going to do is you're going to go down into Mariana's Vel. If you don't know where Mariana's Vel is, you're going to need yourself a submarine, and you're going to need, that's really all you need actually, the submarine. You're just going to have to go down here inside of Roselet. Inside of Roselet, you're just going to dive down, and once you dive down, you're going to have to go through every single area, collect all the exotic fish, extra ones too, keep them. You're going to need them later on, so just go ahead and collect all the exotics from down there, such as the Magma Leviathan, the cryogenic, or the frozen Leviathan, sorry, from the cryogenic canal, and the crowned anglerfish. You're going to need those 3 fish, which I'll quickly show you in just a second. So I'm just going to use my traveler's whistle to get down into the Calm Zone, but these are all the areas you are going to have to cross through. I'm going to show it one more time. You're going to have to cross through the volcanic vents, the Challenger's Deep, the Abyssal Zenith, and the Calm Zone. You're going to have to cross through all of those. So once you get down into the Calm Zone, what you're going to do is be careful to not fall in the water. Even though it says calm, this place is not calm, I promise you. If you fall in the water, you die. So don't fall in the water. What you're going to do is find this little portal back here and this little dude right here, the innkeeper. You're just going to go through this hole in the wall back here. I've explained this so many times now, it's absolutely insane. This place just draws me back here every time. This and Requiem. If you don't know the quickest way to get across this little area, what I would recommend doing is just kind of hopping up the side of this mountain by just going side to side like that. Once you get up here, just grab your glider, just jump, glide across, glide through the sides of the crystal and the rock wall, and then you will find yourself at this little locked door over here, and this is where I said you're going to need those fish, the frozen Leviathan, the Magma Leviathan, and the crowned angler. You're going to need to place these in their respected spots. The Magma Leviathan you get from the first place, which is the what's it called, the volcanic vents. I can never remember the name of that place. Then you're going to go down into the cryogenic canal, which is where you get the frozen Leviathan, and then the Abyssal Zenith, which is where you can catch yourself the crowned anglerfish. Once you get all 3 of those, bring those on down here. You're going to need some extra ones, I think, because some stuff you have to do in those areas require it to get the extra suits and stuff you need and the submarine upgrades to even be able to get down here. But once you complete that, you're going to walk through this area, and this is the actual Calm Zone area, where you can catch yourself the crystallized sea dragons, get yourself the ethereal prism rod right over there. But for us, what we're going to want to do is just climb up this big pillar right here, and then at the top you're just going to jump and glide and go towards the left. If you don't have a velocity coil, you're going to land over on the edge over here and just walk around, and you're going to jump on up, and once up here you will then see this person who is kind of a ghost. You're going to speak to them. They will give you a whole bunch of quests. Fair warning, this is the hardest quest in the entire game. This took me and my friends a few days, if not a week or two, to beat or to get done. It took us an absolute insane amount of time, I can't lie. But the Fabulous Rod is a really good rod. If I quickly just look up the Fab, you have 100% lure speed, 300% luck, a 0 control, 50% resilience, 50% resilience, infinite kg, a +3 disturbance, a hump focus of the colossal ethereal dragon, which is needed for the mastery, I believe, somewhere in here. You need it for the mastery or something like that. Let's just cover the secret stats of this rod. So with this rod, you get a 25% fish weight increase, a 26% chance for the Fabulous mutation, which is a 9.6x mutation, and every 0.25 seconds, you have a 25% chance to slash for 3% progress. After 3 slashes, gain the following: plus 0.2 control, plus 200% forced progress speed, effects gradually diminishing over a span of 3 seconds. So they do diminish pretty quickly, or kind of deplete quickly, so they kind of go down. But as you heard me, it is forced progress speed, so you can catch any fish really quickly if you get those 3 slashes. And with that being said, we can move on to the final rod, which is the 100% complete rod. I'm calling it the 100% complete rod. It's the Masterline rod. I use it every day. I used it earlier. This is the hardest rod to get in the entire game because of some of the stuff you have to do, because of how time consuming this really is. Which, as you can see, if I quickly just go to my stats, I have 658 hours on this game, and I'll say probably about 600 of those were getting the Masterline rod. Actually, I'll say well, considering the nights that I technically AFK'd a lot, so I'll say around 500 hours or 400 were spent getting this rod. So to get this rod, what you have to do is you have to complete every bestiary in the game, not including the limited ones, obviously. So just every single bestiary, you have to 100%, just up to the, you know, exotics. You don't have to worry about the secrets are whatever. You have to 100% each of these areas, getting all the exotics, all the commons, everything, literally everything. And then once you get that done, you're going to have to get yourself every rod in the entire game, which you only have to do one time. I'm one rod off, which is annoying me because it is a limited time rod, and it's the Snows rod, which, as you can see, I need a Shamrock Leviathan, which I need to go catch, which I do technically have one on me, but it doesn't count because I didn't catch it when it was, you know, when I grabbed the quest or whatever, but it doesn't matter. But once you get this rod, I'm going to quickly read off the stats of the Masterline. The Masterline is my personal favorite rod in the entire game because it's the hardest to get. For this rod, I don't have the best enchants on it. I was messing around with some stuff. The best enchants are going to be the same thing we pretty much have on Requiem, which is Sea Prince and Sea Overlord. Those two are the best, or Greedy. You can run that as well, which you get off of Twisted Relics. I did not mention that earlier, actually. But with this rod, you have 1000% lure speed, 350% luck, a 0.15 control, 50% resilience, infinite KG, 75% progress speed, and a 0 disturbance. This rod should be way better, in my opinion, than what it actually is. However, there are some secret stats that go behind this rod. So with this rod, you get 50% progress speed, 25% forced progress speed. So any fish you catch, such as exotic secrets, apex fish, will have plus 25 onto their, you know, regular progress speed. You have a 25% chance for the Ascended mutation, which is a 9.9x multiplier. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th best mutation in the entire game. You have a 10% chance for a Blessed mutation, which is the 8.5x multiplier, which honestly isn't even that bad. You have a plus 5% chance for both Shiny and Sparkling, which is a 1.85x multiplier. So this rod is just overall a really good rod. I did hear that they were supposed to buff it recently. They said it in their last, not this admin event, but the one before this one. They said something about buffing it and then never buffed it, so I'm kind of upset at them for that, but it's whatever. It's their game. I can't tell them to do anything that I want. However, I think if enough of us complain about this rod being bad, it will get a buff, which I think they're kind of figuring out now that this thing needs a buff. But with that out the way, I guess that's all for this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, then please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.